Hello all, it's Andy from Blitz Gaming. I hope you're all having a great day. At the end of the day, it's cooled down in the UK, thank God. At the end of the day, it was boiling for the last 5 days, 6 days. It was driving me nuts. But today's episode, something different. We're going to build a PC. But not any old PC, a 2008 PC. Why do I want to build a 2008 PC? Well, I know a lot of people have actually got this type of PC. At the end of the day. And people, they're all asking me, say, okay, do I get rid of it? In theory, yes. But with the prices of computer parts at this moment in time being stupidly overpriced, or you can't get items, I'm basically saying to them, ideally you maybe want to wait another year or two. What you maybe want to do, give it a good clean, and then reinstall Windows and any other stuff you have. Yeah, ideally with Windows 10. Yeah, because Windows 11 is about to come out, and it's sort of stating, it's not official. No one really knows for sure the way Microsoft wrote it. It looks like Windows 11 will be a free update to Windows 10. And Windows 11 is due to come out probably the last quarter onwards. Yeah, we don't have an exact date yet. But it does look promising, it does look nice. I can't complain on that. So again, going back to the build, why we're doing it, because items of today are silly amounts of money. Lots of people have got one of these at the end of the day. And two things, basically, if you wanted to get into building a PC, or say, okay, I want to get rid of this, but I'll quite happily build my own over time, well, if parts come available, I will show you how to build a PC, yeah, from the basics, and then they explain certain parts. Now this board is quite old, but at the end of the day, fundamentally, things ain't changed that much. All they've got is faster, modern technology, faster. What else? So again, what we can do, if you've got off-the-shelf parts, if you've got a decent power supply, decent case, at the end of the day, decent hard drive, ideally a SATA hard drive, yeah, you can keep those bits. That'll save you, what, £100, £150 off your next build at the end of the day. Now I will say, okay, what bits you can upgrade. Now I do have another system coming in similar to this, but one with a quad-core Phenom and 8GB of memory, yeah. So we will compare the two at the end of the day. I mean, the quad-core should annihilate this. And again, 8GB of memory will certainly speed everything up, because 4GB of memory is really too lame for today's standards. Don't worry, this is not going to be the only build I'm going to be doing. I've got other builds coming, and we'll be doing Alder Lake when it gets released. Now I'm not quite sure when. That might be the end of the year or beginning of next year. We don't know exactly. And at the end of the day, my gaming PC, I've got to clean it sooner or later, so I'll show you that again. We're going through the parts on that and put it back together, and I do plan to put in a hardline water system, so we'll do that sometime hopefully at the end of the year. Hardline water system running my gear. Okay, let's show you the bits and get on with the build. So the case, nothing special, you can't buy this no more. Well, I don't make it no more, you might be able to get one in some places. Cooler Master Box 5, and then the first one I made. It's a nice case, and then plenty of room for gaming, can't complain in that sense. Okay, the build we're using, AMD Athlon, dual core, yeah, motherboard, gigabyte. The board is, at the end of the day, I'll show you there, Series S, at the end of the day, GA-MA7 8GM-S2H. Built-in graphics, at the end of the day, designed for Athlon, Phenom, Sepron. At the end of the day, I mean, at the end of the day, when this come out, it was fine. And Intel released Core Duo, and it basically got annihilated. But up to the point, it was a great system at the end of the day. Now we're going to take the fan off at the end of the day. The best thing about this system is actually it's quite unique because it's got all sorts of stuff on it. PS2s at the end of the day. You don't see that often these days, but obviously I don't know why they put it on boards these days, but I have seen a brand new board from Intel with PS2. Again, don't ask me why. VGA, DVI, HDMI. What's the difference between the three? Basically, higher resolution, lowest resolution, in the middle. This obviously DVI still goes to a high resolution, but refresh rate. And HDMI also carries sound. Bonus, anyway. So we've got USB, Firewire, 3094 Firewire, and then more USB. I believe that's probably a 1 gig, and then Ethernet socket, sound, and then microphone, front speakers, subwoofer, back speakers, and basically surround sound system there, and then that back a bit, which you can't see on the camera. We have a 4-pin CPU socket. Yeah, now that can be an 8-pin. Now, the funny thing is I've never seen until yesterday and today. Now I know you can get an 8-pin and I know you can get 2 4-pins. But I've never seen a 4-pin and an 8-pin. Now that's a first for me and a day. Never come across it, as I said, until yesterday. 24-pin. Now this could be a 20-pin and 8. Depends how old your system is. But it's a 24-pin mainboard power attachment. Now again, this board's old. Floppy disk drive. Wow, you may have a floppy disk drive. We're certainly not going to be using one when I put it back together. EID cable. At the end of the day, I will put a picture of these up now, of the EID. Again, we won't be using that. At the end of the day, SATA. Now, unfortunately, this is SATA 2. Now, it would be nice if it was SATA 3, but it's actually SATA 2. So we can't get max spec. So I could say you could put an SSD on here, but to be honest, you'll be wasting your money because this ain't fast enough to run your SSD. At the end of the day, if you wanted to sort of update your system, it'd be pointless. So you're better off staying with a SATA mechanical hard drive. Okay, PCI Express. This one being blue, it may not be blue, it may be white, it could be black, it could be any other colour. This is PCI Express 16. This is designed for your graphic card. The one closest to your CPU is the fastest socket for your graphic card. Yeah. Now it won't fit in these other sockets, they're the other way around. But you may have a second socket at the end of the day. It could be times 8, and then also be times 16 at the end of the day for things like Crossfire or SLI. Or it may just be there. Again, you got mobile manufacturers gave you another fast socket. But ideally, you'll always put your graphic card in this socket. Yeah. Now your motherboard may say you can actually put it in the second 16 PCI socket at the end of the day. Now that's tied up to your motherboard, but I have known it in 2 occasions at the end of the day where someone's added their card to the second socket. So the first one closest to the CPU, and it's actually blown the card. Now I don't know why they use the first one. Now, I've not read anywhere where that would actually happen, yeah. But just obviously to make sure you don't get the same problem always use this socket at the end of the day. Now on top of that, graphic cards are no longer small. Now when we put everything in the case, I will show you what I mean at the end of the day. But yeah, make sure you always use that socket. What else we got on here? We got anything other weird stuff? We got a COM port there. Now I ain't seen one of them used for many moons. So chance of using that is slim. What's that one down there? On the Pt1 printer port. Again, I've not seen a printer use one of those. These days all printers come on USB, yeah, or Wi-Fi. So again, at the end of the day, right, let's say you ain't touched your PC for many moons, at the end of the day. One, you want to get one of these, at the end of the day. They're not expensive, at the end of the day. It's basically the same as a gas canister, but it's just a USB version, modern age, electric. This will save you a fortune on gas canisters, at the end of the day. Great for blasting dust off your parts and out your case. Now if your case has got loads of stuff in there, I suggest take it outside before blasting it, because it'll go all over your house. And then right, let's take this CPU off, and then CPU header fan. Well, basically, now this is an AMD fan, and then AMD processor, and for an AMD system. Now you can get a third party fan, could be bigger, higher, lower, wider, at the end of the day. Now this one's got brackets, at the end of the day. We unclip that there and take it off, at the end of the day. But another fan made by another manufacturer, they might actually screw it down. Yeah, they might have 4 screws, might be in the corners, might be 1 here, 2 here, like so and so. And they may give you a bracket, which you've got to put in at the back. And they would come through, and then you bolt this side on, basically. So to hold it all squarely and stop your motherboard going out of shape. At the end of the day. And, right, if I get this off first. Now, when you take your fan off, at the end of the day, if you're refurbishing, don't just yank it off. That's a bad idea. Yeah. If you yank it off, you're going to bring the CPU with you. Now, if you can, now I've got a bit of play in this one. I'm lucky. Yeah. You want to keep twisting it. Yeah. Until it decides to come off. Because we don't want the CPU to come out, because we could damage the CPU. Because the CPU is supposed to be locked in position. But I can tell you now, if I just pull this straight up, even though I can't because it's got too much suction on it, if I could, it will pull the CPU out. And we don't want to do that. And it's a bad idea. Now, I might have to be here a little while getting this off. As long as it's moving, which is a bonus, it just don't want to come out. Come out. Cool, Jesus. Hey, we're off. There we are. And it's very dry and awful. Again, got a load of crap on the fan. Now we'll clean that off at the day. Now I use IPA, or isopropyl alcohol, and this is 99%. And now you get 75%. You may get lower than that, or other levels. I don't know. I've only ever seen 99%. And this particular bottle's about I think it's about £10, something like that. There's lots of brand names out there. Now this don't damage your components at the end of the day. It's designed for electronics at the end of the day, so we've got no problem me squirting it like that at the end of the day. Now if your thing was all dusty, you'd blast it with a dust blower. Yeah, go over this like so, get some rag at the end of the day. Now when you're doing the motherboard, ideally you use a lint-free cloth, or lint-free cloth as they call it, I think. Let's see if we can get off. Because isopropyl alcohol eats away thermal paste. Now you're probably saying, well, why would you want to take it off there? Because now I've got to put it on there. Thermal paste. I don't know what the life expectancy of thermal paste is, haven't they? But it does go off to a degree, because I can guarantee it. Yeah, when I repaste this, yeah, it'll be a lot cooler, yeah, than what it was before. So take that into consideration. At the end of the day, we don't want to it overheating. We want to make sure it all works perfectly. So again, at the end of the day, I mean, if you were building the PC, you would have no choice. But at the end of the day, let me just clean that off as much as possible. Now, if you were getting a third-party fan, yeah, because obviously not all CPUs come with fans. This one has, but they don't all come with fans, and they could be up to, well, they can be pretty expensive. Some can go up to £125 or even more. Yeah, basic one, you're talking £30 at the end of the day. But third-party fans are always better than the ones that come with your system. That's a dead cert. So take that into consideration. But what you may have a copper plate on the bottom here, or an aluminium plate, and it may have thermal paste already on the bottom. Yeah, and you have a nice film cover protecting it. Now, I'm not saying people are stupid. It does happen. People don't realise it's on there, and they end up putting it on the system. And it's like, well, why don't you fit? Or it doesn't matter. I do get it on because it's a real thin film, and it overheats, conks out, and all sorts of stuff. It's because you left the thing on there. So you've got to remember, at the end of the day, if you've got a fan like that, remember to take it off before you put it on the system. Again, the problem is you don't notice it because it's such a thin film. Now some of them have a nice big thick plastic, yeah, and you just go straight on, and before you know it, it's too late. Now I also use the old cotton bud actually when I'm going around these solids, because you can't get in there with a cloth, no matter how you try. Now I wouldn't suggest putting them in your ear. I know some people do it to clean out the old earwax, but I've actually done that, and believe me, you'll be worse off once you've done it. So don't bother doing it. Now I'm not no medic expert, but I'm telling you, don't do it. I just want to get rid of the excess thermal paste, which obviously goes everywhere when you don't want it to go everywhere, but it does. Now if you notice, well actually I'll take the CPU out, and they churn that out, as it should do. Anyway, it's nice and clean, socket's nice and clean, so it should be. Now I don't know if you see on there, there's a little gold triangle, and on your socket, as a little triangle. Yeah. Now what you do, you line the two up, gives you the correct orientation. Yeah. For your CPU. And so we strip that down, lock it back in position. Now, this is obviously for this socket, which is AMD 2, AMD 2 Plus, AMD 3, AMD 4. At the end of the day, Intel is completely different. Yeah, and upcoming AMD socket next year will be like Intel. Yeah. So I'll put a picture up now of Intel socket. Yeah. Just take that into consideration, it will be completely different. Right, so this, say we cleaned all the dust off if you're refurbishing. Yeah. You've got your isopropanol, you sprayed it, cleaned all the dust off, make it look lovely. You clean your CPU, make sure that's in, clean the fan, that's in. What do we do next? Well, we get some thermal paste wherever the thermal paste may be, which is there, at the end of the day. And how much thermal paste do you need? Well, you need literally what I put, and it works. Basically a pea size. At the end of the day. You think, well, that ain't going to be a lot. Believe me, yeah. When you squash that down with your fan, yeah, it goes everywhere. Yeah. Now, also let you know, this here is actually a header. It's like a cover. Yeah. The actual CPU itself is like a little square in the middle. Yeah. So you'll probably get like a round circle, and you may miss the corners, but you don't want to miss it too much. Yeah, at the end of the day. But yeah, I mean, some people put a big square, massive great big blob, and they put that on there and it just spreads out all over the place. Yeah, now the problem is, if this gets into these holes, which it shouldn't do, but it may get onto these, these electronics, could give you a short circuit, so you want to make sure that's not going to happen. Right, before I put that on there, I just want to make sure everything's nice and honky-dory clean. Right, fan. Yeah, only going to go one way. Now, ideally, the way you're going to put it is where you've got your lead, and there's the fan header. Yeah. So I'm going to put this in on that way round, because the wire's this side, and I want to put it that way. At the end of the day. Put that clip on, put that clip on, put it over, done. Just plug fan in. And the wire, you just need to hide it somewhere out of the way at the end of the day. Now again, if you had a third party fan, your orientation may be different, but obviously you want to try and get, if it allows you to put in different ways, try and get it where the wire is, because otherwise you have the wire going all over the place. You don't want that at the end of the day. Right, let's move on to the memory. At the end of the day, now memory only goes in one direction, so don't try and put it in a different way. Look there, we've got a slot, and in the socket we've got a little pin sticking up. It goes one way in, and they turn it the other way around. That slot is not in the middle, it's always slightly one side. Now all the sockets are the same size. Yeah. DDR2, 3, 4, probably 5 when it comes out, all be the same length. And you will say, well, why can't I put DDR5 memory in there then? Well, one, at the end of the day, that slot will be in a different position, so it won't fit. So you've got no chance of putting it in there. And secondly, you're more likely to blow your memory up. So I won't bother. So it's dual channel. And ideally, being dual channel, Yeah, we'd have put one here and one there. What's dual channel? I'm not going into major details, but basically dual channel works works faster than single channel. Yeah. Now I'm not trying to lie to you. Basically, when you buy memory, let's say you want to buy 8 gig maximum. Yeah. You can buy one 8 gig stick, and let's say it costs you a tenner, or £10 I should say. Yeah. I will still tell you to buy 2 4 sticks. You say, well, why buy 2 4 sticks when I could buy one stick? Dual channel, okay? 2 sticks. Now it's going to cost you. Now if I said it's £10 for one stick, ideally it'll be. So it's going to cost you an extra £1 or £2 extra at maximum for having 2 4 sticks. Yeah. But and then the performance you get, it's going to be at least 25% speed boost at the day in gaming and applications. So speed, and we all build computers for speed, and it's the main thing. Faster the better. So basically, what I'm saying, spend that extra little bit of money on your memory, and they don't get cheap out. You hate yourself for buying at the end of the day. And when they go in, you should just clip in position like so. Now we're putting 4 sticks in. Does this mean I get quad channel? No, it doesn't. You still got dual channel. And does quad channel exist? Yes, it does. In servers. One day it will come to the desktop. Don't ask me what day that will be at the moment. Now again, when you buy memory, yeah, these days you very rarely get one stick on its own. I mean, you can buy one stick on its own, but most of the time they're always going to come as a kit of 2, yeah. And you always want to buy, let's say if for instance I want 4, yeah. They may do a kit of 4, yeah. Then buy the kit of 4. Buy the kit of 2. You always want them to be 100% matching, yeah. So if you, let's say for instance I buy 2 now, and next year I want to buy another 2. Take down the serial number, yeah, what comes on the box and on the memory, and buy another 2 sticks exactly the same. Yeah. At the day. And also you got to make sure don't buy too much memory, because obviously your motherboard there's always a maximum on motherboards how much they take. Well, now we've done that, let's have a quick look at the other parts. Let's move that out of the way. At the day. We're using Western Digital, yeah, 1 terabyte green drive. Now I've obviously bought this at a later date. I don't have this with the build. This has been quite expensive in 2008. But it's SATA, and then again SATAs, when you attach the cables, only going one way. Power supply. We're using a Cooler Master G650. So we've got 650 watts of power. And well basically well now, read up on there, it'll tell you how much you got. And this is semi-modular. What's semi-modular? Basically, all the main leads, yeah, go directly straight into the power case. And then it gives you, in this case, 4 other leads. Yeah, we can plug in of choice of what we want. Now you can get a cheaper power supply, same amount of wattage, same brand, where all the cables are in. Yeah, that's fine. You can buy those. And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, it could save you £20. Or you can get a fully modular, where no cables are plugged in, and they can go up to £150. Now you'll be saying, so well, why do I want to do that when I get a cheap one? Well, believe me, a lot of these leads, now we only need one lead for the hard disk. We're not putting a graphic card in there, so we don't need these, and then we only need them. So we've got leads we don't need, and on top of that, these leads may be too long. Yeah. So ideally, if you buy a fully modular one, you can actually go to places and actually buy special leads and have them specially coloured, and of your choice. So if you were going to build a real flashy gaming PC, and then let's say if you as a girl, you might say, I want pink everything, so I'll buy pink leads, and then now boys want blue. Me, this is AMD, yeah, AMD build. I would like to have red leads because AMD are red. Yep. Yeah, so I could do AMD red and black. And actually, again on top of that, we're using a Cooler Master, as I showed you in the beginning, Master Box 5 case. I no longer make this case, but you can get it in some places. I quite like it, and the only bad thing about it, I can't put a radiator up the top. Yeah, put one in the front. Otherwise, it's great. And it's a good case. I think it's about £75. Right. Done all that. Right. Okay. The only thing you need to build a PC is a Phillips screwdriver. Yeah. Now I've got iFixit set. Yeah. You don't have to buy an iFixit set. All you need, as I said, is a Phillips screwdriver, and basically, ideally, one with a magnetic tip. Yeah. Because all those little screws. Pain when they fall through the case when you drop them. And the other thing is you want straps. And now these are Velcro straps. Yeah, you can use zip ties. Yeah, these are Velcro ties, and you can use them over and over again. And problem with zip ties, I mean, they're great, and they what to do, but you obviously waste them once you've used them. And you want to replace it, you cut it, throw it in a bin, and in this day, we're in the age of recycling, and obviously the other thing is, when you cut it, because you tighten them up so much, zip ties, you can actually sometimes catch the wire, so again, these are a bonus, and they can't go wrong with these, so yeah, this Phillips screwdriver, blaster, and isopropyl, and our cotton buds. Yeah, great items, and what you need to build a PC. Yeah, and obviously, as I said, Phillips screwdriver. All you need, that's all you need to put it together. The other stuff's a bonus, and they ain't good for cleaning and all that sort of stuff, but I don't go anywhere without any of this. Right, let's get the case over. Okay, power supply. Now when you put your power supply in, yeah, now most cases will have a vent at the bottom, and most cases these days you will put your power supply in at the bottom. And there is a lot of cases where you can put the power supply at a different place, yeah, but 99% of cases, yeah, power supply goes in the bottom and the fan blows out the bottom. Yeah. Now there may be an instance where, okay, you might want to turn it upside down, or say turn it the other way around, so the fan's facing this way in sending heat into the system. Now obviously we don't want the heat at all in the system, we want it out. That's why the power supply's at the bottom and we want the thing blown outwards. But let's say you're putting this on a carpet or a rug and it's quite bushy. Now you might end up blocking the vent, yeah, so you might turn it round so the heat comes up and goes straight out the exhaust if you've got an exhaust fan, yeah. But ideally, if it was me, if I had a thick carpet or a rug, I would get a piece of wood, yeah, or cardboard, and stand it on that, yeah, so it doesn't block that vent, yeah. Simple solution. Right. Your power supply, if you buy one, you buy one, yeah. I won't say it don't happen, but all the power supplies I've always bought, I've always supplied screws, yeah. And in some cases, when you buy a case, they will supply screws on there as well, yeah, for your power supply. And they are Pacific at the day. Now screws of today are so much better than what they were 10 years ago or 20 years ago when I was making PCs. They also come fine threaded, coarse thread. At the end of the day, used to be a bit of a nightmare. But now, at least the welds now, get a bit clever, get a bit universal, and talking all the same language. At the end of the day. So that's him, out of the way. Now where's that blaster? Now ideally, as I said earlier, if you're refurbishing your PC, this is probably dust in there, and I said you should take it outside. Now I've got a bit in there. Now, there we go. Can I get one of these out? I don't know if you can see them. Standoffs. They're like a look at them. They might be black, could be gold or silver. And then they look all like a screw into your motherboard, and then you screw something into them. And they basically, when you put your motherboard in, they lie on them. Yeah. Now the idea is, when you look at the back of your motherboard, and then you got obviously all these wire tracers, and you don't want them rubbing on your case. Yeah. So all these standoffs, they all line up. Yeah. With all the holes where you screw down the motherboard to the case. Yeah. Perfectly. In this case we need 8. Now I'm lucky on this case. It says on there, look, micro ATX motherboard, which we're using a micro ATX motherboard. It says M. So wherever there's an M marked, yeah, we put those standoffs in. Now they come with your case, yeah. Now in some cases they may already be fitted, yeah. They say, oh, that's great, already fitted. Now in some cases that's great. In some cases that's a bad idea, because we're using a micro ATX, or you can use a mini RTX. Yeah, if I was using a mini, I'm only going to go around here, and then we have all these other standoffs in there for no reason. They're not going to hurt, but what's the point of having them sticking up if you're not going to use them at the end of the day? So yeah, get those in. Now also, before we put the motherboard in, got one of these. This is called the IO shield, like IO backplate, yeah, or motherboard backplate, depends what you want to call it. But basically, it protects, and now this comes with the motherboard. It doesn't come with a case. It comes with the motherboard. It lines up like that, okay? Yeah, and you should always get one with your motherboard, unless you get some expensive motherboards have this already built in, so you don't come off at the end of the day. And then we know what orientation goes in, and we've got to put it in that way. Now, all you got to do, yeah, is line it up with the hole, yeah, on the back of your case. Yeah, there's only one hole this shape, and these all come one size. They don't come half this size or longer or whatever. They come one size only. Yeah. Basically, just line it up, yeah, and then you just push it in the hole. Now you might say, well, okay, well, why am I just saying do something nice and simple like that? Well, there is a video on the net saying get a hammer and bash it. Now I'm not being oddball to the bloke, but you don't want to do nothing, you're just going to damage it. At the end of the day, it's as simple. And at the end of the day, that's there to protect that, those ports, and stop you from sticking your fingers in and get electric shock. At the end of the day, all you want to do is just push it in, nicely, easily done. We should put the motherboard in. And as I said, what you do when you put the motherboard in, you push it up against that plate, like so. Perfect. And basically at the end of the day, all those standoffs, as I said earlier, match up with these up with the holes. Again, I should put the screws on the screen, what screws you need. There's one type, and these days they've all worked together. I shall put that up on the screen now, what screws to use. Yes, there's loads of videos out there building PCs on a regular clockwork. Yeah. Most PCs built out there today, they're on modern stuff, which is good. Yeah. But I don't actually show you how to build. Well, I don't show you what's what. And I mean, they do a 5-minute video. Here's the parts. 5 minutes later, it's ready. And it's fair enough. That's all good if you know how to build a PC. But if you want to learn how to build a PC, yeah, you need to watch a video like this where I'm showing you what does what and how things go together. Now, that's probably the only video I'm going to do, show you how to, from the basics. Unless something fundamentally changes. Now, I know, now the reason I'm going to build Alder Lake, yeah, unless it's something really expensive in the future, there's several reasons for it. One, it comes with DDR5. It's supposed to come with PCI Express 5, yeah, and Intel being Intel, for some bizarre reason they decided to change all the power outputs. So the 24 pin is now gone, yeah. I think they've changed it to a 10 pin header, and they've added, like, got your CPU one, so all like in a line or something like that, all next door to each other. But we'll see what happens when it actually comes out. It's like showing, reading up on the Intel version of their board where so and so. Yeah, at the end of the day, we're not using the Intel version. In so and so. Right, so that's in. Let's get the fans. Do we do the fans now? No, we do the fans last, I don't know, because obviously they're going to be a pain. Right. 24 pin power supply. That goes there. Now I'm not going to just go from there to there. I'm going to wrap that around the back of the motherboard. And then the 4 pin. It goes over there. Again, I'm going to wrap that around the back of the motherboard. These are PCI Express power leads. And then they don't need them because we're not putting. Now, if you look at them, it's got a 6-pin header with an attachment, so it can be an 8-pin header. Now, graphic cards, they either come with 6 or an 8-pin header. Now, I should show you later. I should get some graphic cards out and show you what they're like. And again, this get that part. Yeah. Main power supply can be a 20 or 24, but literally every board you buy these days is 24 pin until we get Alder Lake. And we got here 2 4s, but you can have an 8, so you can put these two together to make an 8. Yeah. Now, as I said earlier, for the first time in history, I've actually seen a 4 and an 8. Never come across that into yesterday, I don't know what that is. Mind it, well, saying that, I do know what it is. Intel's latest stuff, Comet Lake, and the one before that. Intel not been horrible. Keep the story short. Their manufacturing process is out of date, yeah, and it's making them use a lot more energy on their computers than what AMD are. So they obviously got more power requirement. So right, we're going to put these out the back and through the holes. And you probably say, why? Alright, I've got to take this side panel off first, does help. Oh, we'll thread that through the hole at the top, the 4-pin, at the node, and 24-pin, we'll bring that through that hole there. And plug that in. Right, so we've got 24-pin, 4-pin, and the node. Anyway, only going one way on, so if you're struggling to get them on, that's because you've got them one way round. And then if you actually look at them, I'll take one out. You've actually got like so square round, square round, square round, square round. So they only go one way on, and they can on the socket obviously match up. At the end of the day, and people say, why do I do that? Well, I could put a lead straight across there if I wanted to. Now let's say if I was making a gaming case, but even not a gaming case, we want airflow. Nice, unrestricted airflow. Go from the front, across the components, and out the exhaust. Yeah, if I put a load of wires going across the system, it blocks airflow, it makes a mess. Yeah, and plus it don't look very nice. They're going to build a system, and why do an untidy job? Yeah. So right, okay. Excuse me. Hard drive, and then what have we got? AMD. Where's that lovely cable gone? Oh, there. And we've got the other one over there, which is now falling on the floor. Just a bit difficult. Right, hard drive. Now, let's take this one out of the cage. Now, your hard drive, at the end of the day, I don't know if you can see in there, you got 3 screw holes. 3 screw holes again. Your hard drive may go along here like that, in a cage. I mean, going back to 2008, it's the sort of thing I used to make quite regular. They still make them today like that. And or it may go that way round at the end of the day. Now, lucky for me, this is a gaming case, and they just go at the bottom so I can get unrestricted airflow. Now, if you've got one there like so, you'd have to screw it in this side, take the back panel off, yeah, and screw in from the other side. Now, obviously, it gives you a hole so you can get into your case to screw them in. Yeah. Right, but we're lucky, and most cases now come with a screwless design. Now, if your case is going this way, they might not give you, yeah. You might have to screw it in. They might have like a clip, because a lot of them you used to get a lot of cages or cases, I should say, today. You slot this in position, and you have these like brackets, and it will clip onto these holes, and then you slide a brick or switch, and locks it in position on the cage. Yeah. But in my case, I have got, make sure I get it right way around. So I've got the power supply at the back. I line those holes up with these pins, because I've got a screwless design. Push that in there like that. This is not the greatest screwless design because I've got to bend the cage out of shape to get the pins in. Now you get some where you can widen them, yeah, get one side done and push it back together, done. Now my cage, can you see it on there, is here at the bottom, and we just slot it straight in like so. Perfect, done. Okay, everything's looking good. All those in, memory's in, CPU's done, 24 pin power split, power's in, 4 pins in. SATA's in, front headers are in at the end of the day. Now I've added the fans, now I've added them on the an extension lead, so to get the wires don't come across here. Now as I said earlier, we've only got one pin, one header on here, but I've got split up extension leads, so I can have the two. So I've got one in the front, pulling air in, and one going out the back. Now you can get power leads that go directly onto a SATA. But if you do that, they run at 1 speed at the end of the day, and you have to buy like a little gadget where you can adjust the speed up and down. Now you're probably asking, if you look at this fan, one in the front here, has got a 4-pin connector. The one in the back, yeah, it's only got a way around. It's only got a 3-pin connector, and you can see on there at the end of the day, 3 and 4. What's the difference? Well, one allows you to put that back on there. 4-pin. Is a bit more advanced. Yeah. Basically, 3-pin, your fan runs at 1 speed. Yeah. Unless you got like a, as I said, a gadget where you can turn it up and down. The 4-pin, yeah, it's controlled by the environment. As it gets hotter, fans get faster. As it gets cooler, fans slow down. And that's controlled by all the sensors on your motherboard and a profile setup which you put in your BIOS. The BIOS is basically the program that runs the motherboard, the way it works. Yeah. You go to your BIOS and you see your fan setups in there. You can change the curve, so if you want them going fast or slow. Yeah. At the end of the day, you can set how you want them to run. If they make too much noise, you can slow them down at the end of the day. Or if they get to a certain noise level, you say, right, stop, automatically slow down. Yeah, because you don't want to get into noisy. And what you do, also control it by the temperature. So yeah, that's the difference between a 4-pin and a 3-pin at the end of the day. Extension bleed back on. I knew something was not right there. It won't reach going all the way around there. What I'm going to do, run the wire all the way around the side there. Power supply. Yeah. In my opinion, most important part of your computer. Yeah. You buy cheap, you get cheap. Yeah. Try and buy a brand new power supply. Yeah. And go to a shop like Newegg, Scan, Overclockers, yeah, eBuyer, somewhere like that. They supply you a decent power supply or a well-known brand, well-known shop you know of. Yeah. Why am I saying this? Well, basically, if you buy a cheap power supply, when there's a fault with it, instead of cutting out, you carry on running and it damages all your components. Give them too much voltage or whatever, yeah, cause all sorts of problems. And in the worst case going, it can catch fire. Now if you don't believe me on any of that, look on YouTube and I will show you doing a live demonstration. It going wrong. Yeah, so buy a decent power supply. And again, when you're building your computer, let's say you want to build a home computer just for browsing the internet, going on YouTube, you get away with a 400, 500 watt power supply at the end of the day on a basic build. Yeah. Now in case, let's say, okay, I built that basic build. Let's say I want to go and put a top range graphic card in there and a top range processor in there, get it running. Now you ain't going to have enough power. Yeah. It just ain't going to run. It's just going to say, no, I'm not running, end of, blah, blah, blah. So if you plan to do that in the future, yeah, spend the money in the first place and buy a decent power supply. 850 watt power supply is going to cost you, let's say £100, basically, non-modular. Now there is some good deals out there where you can get a good modular 850 for £100, but they can go up to, as I said earlier, easily up to 150. Yeah, it depends what brand you want and how much power you want. And you've got gold rated, bronze rated, silver rated. Gold being the best. Yeah. Kind of depends what you want at the end of the day and how much you want to spend. But yeah, power supply, most important item in your case. Don't cheap out on a nasty power supply. Okay, what else have I missed? Now when I was spraying earlier, yeah, I accidentally got the battery. Didn't realise it. But don't get your battery. Yeah, because it could be powered. Now this battery needs to be replaced anyway. It's been in there since 2008. It's old. Yeah, but that obviously getting, because it's got power in it, in short circuit. And also make sure it's all dry. Yeah, before you turn it on, because even though IPA is for components, it still gives electric current when you turn it on. So make sure everything's dry at the day before you turn it on. Okay, everything's good. Okay, we've got a CD auto connector there. Now we ain't got a CD player, internal one, so we don't have to connect that, but that's what that's for. If you had a CD player ready to go. What else? Right, let's talk about graphic cards. Okay, graphic cards come all sorts of shapes and sizes these days, and power requirements are all different as well. Basic graphic card. This is an AMD 6450. Great for HD movies, so 1080p fine, YouTube 1080p fine, 4K no way it's going to happen. Yeah. Obviously browsing the internet, doing online banking, fine. Now the basic one they make these days, AMD, is the 550, which is basically £75. And that'll play 4K and do everything else. Except gaming is, well, you can play basic gaming, but it's not a gaming card. Nvidia do a 1030, again, you play 4K, watching movies and all that sort of stuff. Basic online gaming at the end of the day. Now your graphic card at the end of the day, as I said earlier, goes in the PCI Express SIM16 socket closest to the CPU. At the end of the day, right, we'll just quickly take out a bracket. Yeah, I'm taking out the second bracket because I've got a PCI Express 1 now socket. So basically your graphic card, got this here, it goes in between the motherboard and the backplate, and then you line it up. Simple as that really. Push it down in position, and there we are. And then you screw it in, yeah, using the same screws as you use for the power supply. Now when you take it out, there's a clip at the end, at the bottom, and they vary. Now I'll push that clip to the outside and then come out. Now this clip, now if you can't get your graphic card out, it's because this is in position and you need to push it out. Now a lot of people cut them off because it drives them nuts. But you also get one like this, same as your memory, but this will be a lot thicker, and it'll be on your graphic card. A lot harder to see, I have to say, but you can get at it, and you push it down and it pushes the graphic card up. Yep. Now we go back to this graphic card. Now you can see how small it is. It's not particularly a large graphic card at all. At the end of the day. Now I'll bring over a gaming card, RX 480. This is 4 years old at the end of the day. But this will play easily 1080p at the end of the day, even low resolution, low quality 1440p. Yeah. But if you look at the size difference, big size difference between the two at the end of the day. And this 30 RX 480 is only half the size as my Nvidia 3080. So take that into consideration. For instance, you may have an expansion card. It could be a sound card, capture card, more USB sockets, or anything in there really, what you've decided to put in your expansion. Now if you look at the RX 480, that takes up 2 sockets. Yeah, so straight away, if I've got a card there, can't use it at the end of the day. So remember, when if you're going to buy a graphic card and you've got expansion cards, you may find yourself in a bit of bother. So you have to pick what graphic card you want or change other components at the end of the day. Because you can get an ATX motherboard. This is a micro ATX, which will have possibly 2 more sockets at the end of the day. Well, we've got down here, so we'll have 2 more sockets ATX come down here. So you'll be able to push everything down a bit, solve your problem. But that means you buy another motherboard at the end of the day. Now the RX 3080 is absolutely huge at the end of the day. That's an oversized graphic card. But the average one takes up 3 sockets. Yeah, but that one takes up 4, so that's down here somewhere. Now luckily for me, I have got a full-size card, motherboard, and I have got my capture card in the bottom. Yeah. So again, remember, at the end of the day, graphic cards are big. Now they're not just big this way, they're also big that way. Now you may have, again, a set of cages in your case, and your drive bays are going up and down here, or they're going this way, which is even worse. If you got them going that way, now if I put that like that, you know, I'll put my RX 480 in there, you can see that's overlapping. Yeah, that's overlapping. That ain't gonna fit. But lucky for me, this is a gaming case, and the cages really only go that high. Now you can buy another set of cages, but then we're gonna struggle to get the graphic card in. Now my 3080, that's 13 inches. Yeah, I mean that's coming over here. I mean that's huge. I mean that's coming literally 30% into the hard drive cage. Yeah, that's big time. Now if you're buying gaming cases these days, the chance of you having a mechanical hard drive, yeah, is slim. You're probably buying SSD, which is extremely thin, and on this particular case they go there or them back, and they're really thin, and they basically go bolt on like that, or they bolt on the back plate the other way around, like so. Yeah, like I said, they're only thin, at the end of the day. So if I had a full size graphic card, it won't touch the SSD at the end of the day. Mechanical drives. You'll say, why have I got mechanical drives? Well, one, at the end of the day, as we started earlier, this is an old PC mechanical drive. And plus, mechanical drives are way cheaper than SSDs. Yes, SSD, solid state disk drive. So basically, at the end of the day, now if you're just doing online shopping, yeah, you know, browsing YouTube and all that sort of stuff, SSD is fine. I mean, you can pick up a basic one, 240 gig, yeah, 25, 35 pound tops, yeah. Now for 35 pound, I can easily get a 1 terabyte, that's 1000 gigabyte hard drive. Yeah, that's the difference in price. There's a big difference. Again, depends how much you want to spend. Okay, what else? Did I miss anything? As I said, yeah, make sure when you're spraying your isopropyl or your IPA, make sure it's dry before you turn it on, and don't get a battery. Now I've got to get another battery, which is over there. I'll replace that before we turn it on, because that one's dead anyway. So, as I said, it's 2008. Right, let's get her up the other way. Okay, so we've got it turned over. We've got the 4-pin for the CPU. We're going to run that down the side. We've got the 24-pin. We run that through the middle. And then the fan. We run that down the side. At the end of the day. The hard drive cables only go one way, and then they L-shaped bracket, and then they plug that in. The cable's at the bottom. This is the main header cable at the end of the day for the power switch, reset switch, and the front lights. Again, we'll attach that to that. This is a USB 3 for the front, because this case is newer than the motherboard. It's USB 3, but it doesn't attach to the motherboard unless I buy a connector. Now you can buy USB 3 connectors, but they're quite expensive, like £40. Yeah, and if you take into consideration, let's say I bought a USB expansion card. I bought a SATA 3 expansion card, so I can have faster hard drive and put an SSD in. Yeah. I bought a quad core processor. Yeah. £35. 8 gig of memory. That's another 30 quid. So basically that's like 120, 140 pound. And then they updating the system so you can just keep on using what you got. 140 pound. Yeah. Is it worth it? Now I've got the bits coming, not the USB 3 and the SATA, but I've got 8 gig of memory coming, and I've got a quad core processor. So we will see the difference between the two, and that's cost me, like I said, those two parts cost £60. At the end of the day, we're just showing you, okay, is it worth the effort at the end of the day? But taking into consideration, I've also got an Intel build coming, which is a new motherboard, brand new processor, yeah, up to date processor. It's a Coffee Lake, sorry, Comet Lake, 16 gigs of memory. That's cost me £230. Now, we're taking into consideration you're going to use your hard drive, your case, at the end of the day, and your power supply. Now if you don't use those and you decide to buy a new case, now new case, they vary, start around £35, £40. Power supply, as I said, for a basic build, 40, 50 pound. Yeah, for 400 watt, 500 watt. Say if you want to go for gaming later at a later date, you want to look around £100 plus. Yeah, for an 850 watt power supply. Hard drive. Now, okay, for the new build, if you were just doing online game browsing, SSD, £30 for 250 gig. 500 gig one is basically £50. Now, in my opinion, 500 gigs not even big. Games these days are huge. Call of Duty is it's like 125 gig. Yeah, it's huge. Yeah, it's nothing small. If you play online games, World of Warcraft, Elder Scrolls Online, they're all over 100 gig. So take that into consideration. So it's like, you ain't going to get many games on your hard drive. I mean, ideally, what I would do, and what I still do, I buy a small SSD to boot up Windows, so you want it nice and quick and nice and fast. Import all the games on a mechanical drive, like buy a 2 terabyte hard drive, because you get one for like £50, they're like, and then they're not massively amount of money, but it's large storage. And they, because a 2 terabyte hard drive SSD, you're talking a couple of £100. SSDs come really expensive. When they get down to the normal price, we soon change it over to an SSD. But at the moment, I still run my games on a mechanical drive. But that's up to me. And then again, it's all comes down to how much you want to spend. At the end of the day, now I don't find it slow, mechanical drive. At the end of the day, working with an SSD, I mean, yes, it would be quicker. Yeah, a lot faster if it was an SSD, but games at the moment are not really optimised for SSD drives. So, now we know Windows 11 is coming out. Now, that may be a different matter altogether. But okay, let's get all these tied down at the end of the day. So, like again, we got the Velcro ties. Get them on there, like so. Wrap that one around there. I've also got the power lead up here, which will actually that sound. Put another one in there. So that's nice and tidy. Yeah, you want it nice and tidy, neat as possible, and then we can get the cover on. Easy peasy then, wherever the cover may be. Cover, cover, cover. There we are. One cover. Now we turn it up. It's not on properly at the bottom. Put the old screw in there, hold it still. Going on for some reason. But turn that back over. Put this back plate back in. Now again, if you buy a cheap case, you know, these brackets at the back, now on these ones they're separate and you unscrew them, but you may have one where it's like part of a mould and then you got to knock them out and they go well all sorts of shape and they cut your hands. Yeah, that's what happens when you buy cheap cases. If you're on a budget, you're on a budget. You just got to make sure you be careful by doing a cheap case. I will get a cheap case in and show you how bad it can be. All the lovely leads we have. Put them out of the way. At the end of the day. Cover. In this case we have a cover. At the end of the day, I mean, I put that hole there, I have the wires come through, but you've got no chance. So it's easy to have them come out the cover at the end. And that going around the back there. Like so. So that's it. I mean, at the end of the day, it's lovely jubbly, everything's ready to go. Just turn it on, put Windows 10 on. Now I'm not going to do a video where we're installing Windows 10. Now if you want me to do a Windows 10 installation, let me know. Being this PC quite old, it'll take a good about an hour probably to install. So, and it'd just be like watching the screen, it'd be boring at the end of the day. But if you do, let me know and I should do one, but I'll do it on another PC because I think on my main PC it took about 15 minutes, really fast, no hanging around. Okay, let's get this up and running, see how well it works at the end of the day. Hello all, my name's Andrew, welcome to the Blitz Gaming channel. It's been a long time since I made a video, I hope everyone's okay. And right, today's video, something different, AMD's 24G processor. Yes, they have added a 34G, they've now added a 4000 series, and now added a 5000 series, but a 4000 and 5000 series are only available through OEMs. That's big system builders like Dell, HP. 5000 series is going to come to the retail chain. Not quite sure when, a bit like June, July, August maybe, with luck. But AMD have said it will come to the retail chain. And I would expect it to be a good 5 frames to 10 frames or even more faster than the 24G. I shall put the screws up now of the 24G and the 5000 series coming out in the very near future. Okay, so this is the 24G. Now I know it says Pro up there, but the Pro and the standard version are more or less the same processor. So don't worry about it too much. So you see, you can do well. I can't see it being no more than £100 if you can get your hands on one. Even as a brand new one. I think the 34G is still listed, and it has gone up. I think I've paid, I first think they were originally around Hello, it's me again, Andy from Blitz Gaming. I hope you're all having a great day. Today's video, RX 480, MSI one, just in case you want to know which make it is. There's nothing wrong with MSI at the end of the day, but this one. So, another computer done. We managed to get 13-year-old PC working. Athlon 5050E, 4 gig of memory. At the end of the day, 3200 IGP graphics. We got it working on Windows 10. At the end of the day, I showed you on the internet. Yes, there was some buffering on YouTube, but if you lower the resolution, solve the problem. Basically that goes down to only having 4 gig of memory. It ran fine directly playing a 1080p movie off my hard drive. And then it moved around. The mouse moved around, no problem. Opening folders. Yeah. Not too much of a problem. Yeah, boot up time was 55 seconds. Yeah. Not particularly turbo. But it is running on a mechanical hard drive, and to make it worse, it is on a SATA 2 interface, not a SATA 3. But it worked at the end of the day. Now what we're going to do, I'm going to put a quad-core Phenom in, 465. I'm going to put in a SSD drive, even though we're on an old interface, but we may get a faster boot. I'm not quite sure, but we'll find out soon. I'm going to put in an RX 480, yeah, see how well the Phenom does with a graphic card. Now, the CPU is going to be a massive bottleneck to the graphic card, that's for certain, yeah. But at least at the end of the day, we can see if it will work. And then, because at the end of the day, as I said in the beginning, this sort of PC was quite common. You're going to have a dual core or a quad core processor sitting around doing nothing with rather 4 gig or 8 gig. Now also I'm going to put 8 gig in it, yeah. So you can bang around one of those two configurations or somewhere along the line. 8 gig dual core, quad core, 4 gig or quad core, 8 gig at the end of the day. You won't have an SSD, but the SSD will certainly speed boot times up, even on, I think, on a SATA 2 interface at the end of the day. I don't know how much, but I think it's certainly going to be an improvement. And obviously the graphic card we're just throwing in there just to see if it will play games, because at the end of the day, what you could do, you could put the SSD, buy an SSD, you can buy a graphic card at the end of the day. You can keep your power supply, you can keep your case if they're off the shelf stuff at the end of the day, and you've got a decent power supply, decent case. And when everything else comes to normal, CPUs, motherboards, memory all comes to normal, you go out and purchase those items at a later date, and you can still keep those other parts. So as a bonus. Now on top of that, I have ordered, yeah, and it has actually now turned up today, which is good. Rocket Lake. Yeah, I wasn't going to do Rocket Lake this year, but I've decided we'll do Rocket Lake. And I've got a dual core Pentium. Now yes, it's only dual core. Intel prices are they're weird. I mean, at the end of the day, I can't understand the way their pricing is. At the end of the day, making dual cores today is another thing I think it's bizarre. It's a bit pointless in my opinion, but we're going to do the dual core, 16 gigs of DDR, DDR4, yeah, at the end of the day, and it's cost me basically about £220, yeah. Now we add that to the SSD and the graphic card, the hard drive we've already got, as we can use as a storage drive, the case, the power supply, yeah, and we can see how it compares to the Phenom. Now in theory, even though the dual core, it automatically should annihilate the Athlon and a Phenom. So, I mean, we're talking about loads of extras, special instructions is in the Pentium. So it should be a massive update, yeah, considering it's a 2013 PC. But we'll see, we'll get it going at the end of the day and see how it goes. And that'll be in an upcoming video sometime by the end of the week. Yeah. Okay. I'll show you in part 2 the updates of the Phenom quad core with the RX 480 running 6 games, up-to-date games, and that'll be coming up very soon as well this week, part 2. Okay, see you in a bit.